Hello viewers, you are watching my YouTube channel. I am Manoj Kumar Ekka. If you have not yet subscribed my channel, please do subscribe it and also don't forget to press the like button. Today I'll discuss with you Act 4 Scene 1. Since this scene is quite a bit long, I have divided this scene in 3 parts. And today we will deal with part 1 of this scene. This scene is actually a trial scene in which Antonio is tried in a Venetian court of law. And the judge, who is the Duke himself, appeals to Shylock to show mercy, and Bassanio also offers double the amount to Shylock, but the Jew, that is Shylock, does not listen to anyone, and he is strictly demands the law, the bond that was signed, and so no one is able to convince Shylock to save Antonio. And Shylock also is very much rigid. He doesn't want to understand or forgive Antonio by any means. By all means, he wants the court to judge according to the bond that was signed by Antonio. So now let's go to the text. The scene takes place in Venice, a court of justice, and the Duke enters along with the Magnificos, Antonios, Bassanio, Graciano, Salario, and others. So all are there in the court. Duke speaks. What? Is Antonio here? Antonio says, ready, so please our grace. So when Duke asks whether Antonio is present in the court, and to that reply Antonio says that yes, your majesty, your good grace, I am ready. Then Duke speaks, I am sorry for thee, thou art come to answer a stony adversary, an inhuman wretch, incapable of pity, void and empty from any dram of mercy. So he says that, Antonio, I am so sorry for you. You are being asked to face such a hard matter against a stony opponent, means who doesn't have a heart, who is an inhuman wretch, and he is a man who is incapable to offer any pity, show any pity, and who has been devoid of humanity. Even he is the man who has a heart as empty as a drum and has not learned to show mercy to anyone. Then Antonio speaks, I have heard your grace hath taken great pains to qualify his rigorous course, but since he stands obdurate, and that no lawful means can carry me out of his envy's reach, I do oppose my patience to his fury, and am armed to suffer with a quietness of spirit the very tyranny and rage of his. So Antonio very prettily he speaks to him that, you good majesty, I have heard that your kind grace has felt great pains, and you have tried much to make him understand, to forgive me, as he has stood too much strict, and so no lawful means can carry me out of his eyes reach. I will have to meet his anger with patience, so I am armed, that is, I am ready to suffer the whatever trials and rage of his heart with a quietness of my spirit. Then Duke speaks, go on and call the Jew into the court. And Salario says, he is ready at the door, he comes, my lord. Then Shylock enters. Duke, make room and let him stand before our face. Shylock, the world thinks, and I think so too, that thou but leadest this fashion of thy malice to the last hour of act, and then 'tis thought thou it show thy mercy and remorse more strange than is thy strange apparent cruelty. So the Duke says to Shylock that give him the room the place where the person who comes to get justice, and let him stand before our face. Shylock, the whole world thinks, and I also think, that it is you who is showing the same fashion of your malice till the last hour of the fact which is lodged against Antonio by you. But then it is thought, I pray you should show your mercy and sympathy to Antonio, which can be the largest example for you, and I think it must be most strange to you that of your strange apparent cruelty. Next line. And where thou now exacts the penalty, which is a pound of this poor merchant's flesh, thou wilt not only lose the forfeiture, but, touched with human gentleness and love, forgive a moiety of the principles. So the Duke goes on to say that it is thought it is not your will to ask penalty for Antonio, but I know you insist on your demanded penalty, which is a pound of this poor merchant's flesh. I pray to you, Shylock, that you not only will refuse to accept the penalty for Antonio, but I expect you should be touched with human gentleness and love. I pray to you to forgive a portion of your principal amount owed by Antonio, that is, a pound of flesh. Next line. Glancing an eye of pity on his losses that have of late so huddled on his back, enough to press a royal merchant down and pluck commiseration of his state from brassy bosoms and rough hearts of flint, from stubborn Turks and Tartars never trained to offices of tender courtesy. We all expect a gentle answer, Jew. So he says that Shylock tried to look at him with the eyes of pity. See what a great losses he has. See him, Shylock. These losses of him have, of late, though it may be late, been very accumulated on his back. These losses are so extreme for Antonio that it has made him ruined. So I pray you that you should think of that merchant. Shylock feel pity on his condition, that's what he says. I think those Turks and Tartars who stubborn and savage have never been trained in the offices of tender human feeling can act like this, but you do not show such your feelings to Antonio. However, what I had to say you is expressed by me. Now we all are waiting a gentle answer from you, Shylock. So you are the Jew. Now tell, what are you thinking? What is your decision? Then Shylock speaks. I have possessed your grace of what I propose, and by our holy Sabbath have I sworn to have the due and forfeit of my bond. So Shylock says that I have before told that what I want. It is your grace. I want my demand, which is a penalty to Antonio, your majesty. Sir, it is I, Shylock, who have sworn by the name of our Jewish holy Sabbath. I want to have my due demand, because the bond which was signed on condition has been forfeited. Then he goes on to say, if you deny it, let the danger light upon your chatter and your city's freedom. So he says that if you deny it, your majesty, you will invite the danger in the light of the world, that it would endanger your city's charter. What is the charter? The code of law and freedom. Then he says, next line, you will ask me why I rather chose to have a wage of carrion flesh than to receive 3,000 ducats. I will not answer that, but say it is my humor. Is it answered? So he says, your majesty, you can ask me why I rather do want to get a pound of human's lifeless flesh than to receive my 3,000 ducats? Your Majesty, I am not bound to answer of that question. You may think it is my crazy disposition that I prefer flesh to the cash money. Therefore, sir, I think you have got my answer. Then next line you see. What if my house be troubled with a rat, and I be pleased to give 10,000 ducats to have it banned? What are you answered yet? Your Majesty, we can make a conjure on it. You think if my house is to be troubled with a rat, tell me then what I have to do? Yes, I have to do something that with my own pleasure I would spend 10,000 ducats for the rat which became a trouble to me, and it must be poisoned to death. I hope you have understood what I want to mean. Then next line you see. Some men there are love not a gaping pig, some that are mad if they behold a cat, and others when the bagpipe sings I the nose cannot contain themselves for affection. Mistress of passion sways it to the mood of what it likes or loathes. Sir, you have to think there are some men who dislike a gaping pig. There are some people who have to be mad when they see a cat. Even there are some men who cannot maintain their self-control when they hear the shrill notes of the bagpipe, because personal affection or inclination or temperament is the ruler of any passion, and it leads our emotion what we like or dislike. Then next line. Now for your answer. As there is no firm reason to be rendered why he cannot abide a gaping pig, why he a harmless necessary cat, why he a woolen bagpipe, but of force must yield to such inevitable shame as to offend himself being offended. Your Majesty, so this is my answer to you. That's what he says. Sir, there can have no firm reason to be rendered why one man cannot abide by a gaping pig, why some man becomes furious seeing a harmless useful domestic cat, why another man becomes furious when he hears the sound of bagpipe which is covered with wools. Your Majesty, sir, but when a man himself is offended, he is forced to react in such an inevitable, shameful manner that he must have to give such offense to others. Next line. So, can I give no reason, nor I will not, more than a lodged hate and a certain loathing I bear Antonio, that I follow thus a losing suit against him. Are you answered? So he says that, now your Majesty, so I can give you no reason, or I will not give you more than it, because I have lodged hate and a certain loathing which I have borne against Antonio. So I should follow you in this way, a legal case in which I have lost money. Your good Majesty, sir, are you answered by me to your questions? This is no answer, thou unfeeling man, to excuse the current of thy cruelty. That means Bassanio says that you are an unfeeling man. This cannot be any answer to the Duke's question. Then Shylock says, I am not bound to please thee with my answer. That means I am not forced to make a man happy. Then Bassanio speaks, do all men kill the things they do not love? So Bassanio asks that, and to that reply Shylock says, hates any man the thing he would not kill. Then Bassanio speaks, every offense is not a hate at first. So anything and everything offense is not a hate. And Shylock replies to that, What wouldst thou have a serpent sting thee twice? What will you do if the serpent stings you twice? Will you not kill it? That's what Shylock says. Then Antonio speaks. I pray you, think you question with the Jew. You may as well go stand upon the beach and bid the main flood bait his usual height. You may go, Bassanio, that I pray to you that you must try to realize my view. I wish to tell you that you are fruitlessly requesting the Jew whose heart have turned into a stone. I think there can have no result on such making request to the Jew. It would be better rather to leave the matter under the Jew's will. I request you that it would rather be better for you to go to the sea beach, and you are to stand there, and you would have to invite the main flood to bait his usual height. I request you, it would fruitless request to question a wolf why he eats lamb and why he has made the ivy to bleed for her lamb. Then see the next line. You may as well forbid the mountain pines to wag their high tops and to make no noise when they are threatened with the gusts of heaven. So Antonio continues to saying that I tell you that it is meaningless to request the mountain pines that they would not wag their high top branches and would not make noise when they would be blown with the gusts of heaven, that is with the wind from the above. Then next line, you may as well do anything most hard as seek to soften that. Then which what's harder? His Jew's heart, therefore, I do beseech you, make no more offers, use no further means, but with all brief and plain conveniency, let me have judgment, and the Jew his will. So Antonio says that you may do many harder things, but if you think you would be able to soften the Jew's hardest heart, it would be the hardest of the hardest ones. Therefore I do beseech you, I request you not to offer him any more, and do not try to request him in further means. Oh, dear Duke, I pray your good grace, with all brief and plain conveniency, let me have my judgment, and let the Jew have his lodged will, that is, to get his due demand. Then Bassanio speaks, for thy 3,000 ducats, here is 6. So Bassanio tells to Shylock that here I give 6,000 ducats for your 3,000 as a loan which Antonio owes to you. Then Shylock replies, if every ducat in 6,000 ducat were in 6 parts, and every part a ducat, I would not draw them, I would have my bond. So Shylock is very much rigid and says, if every ducat of your 6,000 is parted, divided into 6, and if every part of it is a ducat, but yet I would not take them, because I have possessed a legal bond and would accept the justice to get a pound of flesh from Antonio's body, but I would not accept the ducats what you want to give me. Then Duke says, how shalt thou hope for mercy, rendering none? So he says that how do you hope to receive God's mercy if you don't show any mercy to anyone? Then how God also will do mercy to you? Then Shylock speaks, what judgment shall I dread, doing no wrong? You have among you many a purchased slave, which like your asses and your dogs and mules, you use in abject and in slavish part, because you bought them. So Shylock says that what would the judgment be for me I do feel no fear because I have done no wrong to the court. Sir, you have among you many a purchased slave whom you like to treat as your asses, your dogs and your mules. Sir, you are those boastful, self-declared civilized men who use those slaves in your any degrading objects in your civil work. Then he goes on to says, next line, shall I say to you, let them be free, marry them to your heads? So he says that, Your Majesty, can I say that let those slaves be free, let them marry to your heirs, means your children? Then continue next line. Why sweat they under burdens? Let their beds be made as soft as yours, and let their palates be seasoned with such viands. You will answer, the slaves are ours. So do I answer you. So he says that, tell me, sir, why shall those slaves shed their sweats under the burdens? Your Majesty, can I tell you, let the beds be made as soft as yours? Tell me, sir, can I ask you, let their plates be treated with the same food as your plates are seasoned whites? Can you be able to answer of these questions? Can you tell those slaves are of your own men? I know you will not permit them as the members of your own family. It is the same thing for me, what I have answered you. See the lines. The pound of flesh which I demand of him is dearly bought. It is mine, and I will have it. If you deny me, fight upon your law. There is no force in the decrees of Venice. I stand for judgment. Answer, shall I have it? So that's what he says, means that, sir, you think this very pound of flesh which I have demanded from Antonio's body has been bought with a high price. So it is mine, and I would have to get it legally. Sir, if you deny me my bond, your law would be a vile thing, and I would hate your law, as my bond is legal, and it does not deny the law of the city. It would prove that there is no binding in the decrees of Venice. I do not want to listen to you more. It is clear that I have stood on the platform of the court for getting my right judgment. Therefore, sir, you are to answer me whether I shall have to get the judgment or not. Then Duke speaks. Upon my power I may dismiss this court, unless Bellario, a learned doctor, whom I have sent for to determine this, come here today. So Duke says that I have been vested the power to adjourn the court until Bellaria, a learned doctor in law, whom I have sent for to determine, to judge the law suits, come here today. Then Salario speaks. My lord, here stays without a messenger with letters from the doctor, new come from Padua. So he says that, my lord, here is a messenger standing outside the court with letters, who has come from the Dr. Bellario of Padua. Then Duke speaks. Bring us the letters. Call the messenger. So he says, bring the letters and call the messenger inside. Then Bassanio speaks. Good cheer, Antonio. What man courage yet? The Jew shall have my flesh, blood, bones, and all, ere thou shalt lose for me one drop of blood. So Bassanio says, make cheer, Antonio. Do not feel any despair. Hold strong, be courageous. The Jews shall have my flesh, my blood, my bones, and all my body. But I shall not allow him to shed one drop of your blood for me. Then Antonio speaks. I am a tainted wether of the flock, meetest for death. The weakest kind of fruit drops earliest to the ground, and so let me. You cannot better be employed, Bassanio, than to live still and write my epitaph. So Antonio says that Bassanio, I am now a sickly sheep in the whole flock, and I am approaching to the death more than the others. I am like the weakest kind of fruit to drop down earliest to the ground. So I pray you, let me accept the death as soon as possible. Rather, I say you that it would be the best thing for you to write down some words which may be of lamentation, or for sadness, or of praiseworthy, and then you should inscribe words on my grave. Okay, that is an epitaph on my grave. So here we end the first part of Act 4, Scene 1, and I shall meet you in my next video with the second part, in which we will discuss how Nerissa enters dressed like a lawyer's clerk. Till then, see you. Thank you very much. God bless you.